to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly.
And
Tyler, I'm legally required to be here, Hymens.
You cannot leave ever. Must show up for each episode. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. Every week we're looking forward to this time with our listeners, and hopefully you can share us your thoughts on this time as well.
Yeah, send us an email, sequelrights@gmail.com, or you can find us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights, and we're on YouTube as well. You search for Sequel Rights channel.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. If you're not listening on Apple Podcasts, share out on social media what your favorite episode is. Expand our listening network. We'd really appreciate it. Either way is a great way to spread the word about our podcast.
That's right. That's right. Well, we are not alone this week. We may be social distancing yet again, but we have a special guest with us. Eliz, who is here with us this week?
Yeah, we have known each other since we were 8, and we're basically family, and she is a microbiologist for a public health organization, so we are going straight to the source to bring you accurate information here, and it's my friend Leslie Dominguez.
Hey, everyone.
Thanks for being here, Leslie.
Oh, thank you so much.
Can't wait to pick your brain about necrotizing fasciitis. Fasciitis.
I was like, giving you the
Fascist Titans.
Fascist necrotizing. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we are back this week with the Cabin Fever franchise, talking about Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. So why don't you all pull up your punch bowls, take a sip, and join us at prom.
I don't want to get sick. I don't want any of us getting sick.
The water coming out of here is bad news.
Hey, do you want to go to prom with me? I don't know, it's the last few weeks of high school, and I just figure it might be the kind of thing that we'd regret not having done.
Would you please go to prom with me?
Maybe I'll meet you there.
That's awesome. I mean, that actually works better for me.
It is time to announce the prom king and the prom queen.
Everybody dies at prom.
Which is not in the spring.
No.
Let's be clear.
Kind of is.
Yeah,
maybe.
I guess it could be, yeah.
No.
Yeah, it would be right around right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't you see John Krasinski's virtual prom?
Summer, you're out of school.
Fine.
That's true. That was multiple weeks ago, the virtual prom.
Uh-huh. Anyways, midwinter fever is not a phrase, so.
Oh boy. Well,
and this movie is not even a phrase, nor is it a movie.
Well, I think at the end of last week's episode, I made some hint about seeing who the director was for this movie, and I was pretty excited. Before
it's a director that Justin and I like, but his wishes of this movie is that the director of this film is Alan Smithy.
Oh yeah, and Tyler, what does that tell the people who might not know where that comes from?
Well, Alan Smithy is a moniker for directors who are so ashamed of what has been either cut together or the result of their efforts. It's hard to tell sometimes. That they're saying, I want nothing to do with this. I do not want credit on this movie. I would like this fake name to be up there, and everybody knows that this fake name means that I disown this picture. But the Guild wouldn't let him do it, so his name's totally on the movie.
Oh, he actually tried?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he tried.
He did. My God. Yeah, I was surprised because we have watched a lot of his movies at Horror Movie Night that were very good, that I enjoyed a lot.
And this is Ty West we're talking about. I don't know if we mentioned his name yet.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And this was not good. I mean, we'll get into it, obviously. But.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might be, let's just right off the top, this might be the worst movie we've watched in the 100+ episodes of doing this show.
Yeah, I think you might be right, honestly.
I think it's the worst.
What are you going to say that was
about it.
worse? I don't know.
Meatballs 3 or something?
Meatballs 3 had an alien in a raincoat.
No, that was Meatballs 2. I'm talking about the
Meatballs 3 was
one.
the one that was only on YouTube.
The one about how no means yes or whatever.
Yeah.
Come on. Anyway.
Yeah, at least we could make fun of that one. I don't know about this movie.
So Leslie, what was your experience with this this series?
Okay, so I vaguely remember watching the first Cabin Fever a long time ago, back when I was a young freshman in high school with my brother, I think. I can't remember. We used to watch a bunch of just garbage films at the $1 rental store when rental stores were still a thing. And I remember seeing the cover of that. I didn't realize it was number 2. I heard about the remake. And then it's just kind of all mixed together. And then when I watched this, I'm like, oh, wait, this feels really familiar. So I could have watched this sequel also. I just don't remember because it's such a...
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
So the movie, it starts with the Sean stuff, right? Or does it start with the cartoon? I can't remember.
It starts with Paul, I believe.
Yeah, Paul, whatever. Sean from Boy Meets World, who is back with an unrecognizable face prosthetic that renders him basically useless.
It's so weird. He gets top billing in this movie, right or strong, number 1 actor.
He gets top billing, and the thing is already in the water, so there's no reason for him to eat to even be here.
Well,
Tyler, I guess it's just he's the infection vector for this high school, I guess.
It's because this is a hilarious horror comedy, and what happens to him is really funny.
Oh, right, yes.
That's why. Duh.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's all it is. It's supposed to be a funny joke.
Mention before we get into any of this, as we were saying, in 2002, that there was some things that were on the border. No, not in retrospect, everything was distasteful about the original Cabin Fever. But there were some things where it was 20 years ago, maybe there's some of this stuff's in a gray area. This movie was released in 2009. So there is no wiggle room. None.
It was shot
0.
in 2007 and sat on the shelf for 2 years, but still.
Yes. Yeah.
But still. They just I mean, I don't know if they were people saying those words and acting like that is just part of the franchise. We got to continue it on into the
That's just part of the Cabin Fever brand.
I guess.
Is a distilled
everyone's a mean asshole.
Juvenile hate.
Yeah.
So where did you guys all watch this?
I bought the unrated DVD.
I watched it, thankfully, Mike Bloomberg ad-free on Tubi TV.
I also watched it on Tubi TV. Leslie, where did you watch it?
Tubi TV.
Okay.
I wasn't going to pay any money for it.
Yeah.
Smart.
But so the Tubi TV, anyone can just go on there. There's no age check or log in or anything. Freaking anybody can watch this thing that is past rated R.
Yeah, there is it shows everything.
Yeah.
In gross detail.
I had to look towards my Animal Crossing game multiple times and not watch what was happening.
I was like, Tyler, you weren't watching this one on the train?
No.
I know.
Trains.
I might never get to ride a train again.
No trains.
So, Leslie, I know that you have a lot of experience with water testing.
Yes, I do.
If a body with a disease falls into a reservoir, will all the water be diseased?
Not necessarily. What happened? It depends how decayed the body is and what part of the reservoir the body landed in, and if there's a facility treatment plant. Because usually most water is treated.
Okay.
So if you're drinking raw river water with a dead body floating in it, then yeah, you deserve to get whatever sickness you have.
Are you telling us the people at Down Home Spring Water weren't
I now have a question that
Yes.
okay, so you know these Life Straw filters?
Yes.
So
heard of them.
if you were to stick this Life Straw filter is like something that says that like, oh yeah, you can drink whatever water, like this filter, you just stick it in.
Gives me life.
You know, like literally, like the photo of this filter is like somebody just like sucking up pond stuff.
What?
And I have one in my earthquake kit. This is why I'm curious about this question. If I wanted, I was like, oh yeah, I want to drink some filthy river water. Is there any consumer grade filter that makes that remotely safe? My anticipation for this answer is absolutely not.
Well, let's see. If you're going to be drinking filthy river water with a body floating into it, it might filter out the water, but it won't filter out any of the blood in it or any of the other type of floating material in it, like fecal material and any other. Yeah, you know, it can filter some fecal material, but not all of it. Not to mention, also depending on your water condition, you can also get amoeba. You could get the flesh-eating amoeba thing. You can get a lot of things. Sure. So, like, if there's a dead body next to you, you need to drink that water. I would suggest move like upstream, at least like 20 feet. If you're that desperate.
Pure life straw.
So while we're on this subject, I mean, in this movie, I guess they sort of reveal what the disease is in a book. Like, what was that sign?
We got to go get those books you're always talking about.
Okay, no. Necrotizer fasciatus is actually Staph aureus normally, so flesh-eating bacteria. That's not really Staph aureus. It's acting like a virus, like a hemorrhagic fever virus. So your Ebolas, your Lassa fevers, your Marburg viruses, the way that's being transmitted in the film. I watched this movie with two hats. The movie consumer hat and the scientific epidemiologist hat.
Yes.
Okay. Some of them are severely disappointed.
Yeah, what I'm hearing from you is that this film isn't accurate.
Yeah, if they really want to really, model something after that's like really terrifying, they should have just stuck with the hemorrhagic fevers, like your Ebolas and your Lassa fevers. This was just kind of all over the place, and like also the mode of transmission, like we'll get more into it as we talk about the film, the way people get infected. It's kind of all over the place. Luckily, we're lucky that we live in the world where so far there's no virus or bacterial, fungal, or parasitic that can have all those type of modes of transmission. So we're lucky in that sense.
Okay. It's either one or the other. It's not every single, it's not both water, air, sexually transmitted,
blood,
in a pool, in a, etc.
Coffee.
Like body fluids and everything. So,
okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
I gotta say, this movie started out and I was like, first of all, I at the time I thought, oh, that Ryder Strong thing, he gets hit by the bus and explodes. That's kind of funny, whatever.
I thought it was when I first saw that, I was like, what is this, a trauma film? Because it makes it kind of look like Toxie.
Yeah.
He did look like
Toxie. Are they ripping off Toxie
for sure.
for a second?
I was kind of hoping that it would just cut to his body reforming, like throughout the entire movie of him just
yeah.
I was like, oh, he's coming back.
And then we get this like super weird animated sequence for the opening titles. Yeah. And part of me was like, most of me was like, what the fuck is this? But part of me was also like, I was excited that this like scene that you guys apparently didn't have in your version of the movie that you guys watched last week with the down home water truck going off to everything was like apparently becoming a major plot point in this movie. I was like, oh shit, like they continued this from the first film, and I thought that was kind of cool, and that was about it.
Yeah, at first with the animation, I was like, okay, they're like finding a way to show all this stuff really fast of how it spread around, and at the end of the movie too. But then I realized, like, no, it's probably just that they didn't have the time or money to shoot all these scenes, so they're like, let's get the cheapest animator person that we can find and pay them to make these little
it might be somewhere in between where it was a friend of the filmmaker of some kind or somebody that was like, I can do it, like let's do that and it could be cool. Like I don't think it's somewhere between it being cool and it being completely cynical. That's kind of the middle that I think that either way it's not great animation, and the animation is flavored in such a way where it feels kind of Adult Swimmy, but also
Yeah.
just kind of juvenile, and then just bad. And it kind of preps you for what's happening, what's going to be coming up in the movie.
Yeah, it's funny. There is, I might reference it a few times throughout this this evening, but there's this awesome article from October 16th, 2009 on comingsoon.net that is all about the Ty West trying to take his name off this movie and how he was disappointed with it. And it's cool because it has statements from Ty West and statements from the producer of the film. And there's this interesting back and forth as to like, whose fault is this bad movie? But the producer says that 90% of what he shot is in the movie. It might not be cut the way he wanted, but she specifically mentions that the animation is in there, and that's something that he wanted.
Oh,
so,
there you go.
I don't know.
When the animation ends, we're at the high school. So do you think that the opening shot of a random girl's butt in a skirt was something that he wanted?
Probably.
Okay.
Maybe. I guess what I will say about the animation is like if this was shot in 2007, like 2008, that's before a lot of the American animation studios actually got founded, and there was not a lot of them. So like you're talking about webcomic times, and it's one of those things that we forget that like the past 10 years, like there's been a renaissance in American animation, and the quality has gone completely off the rails in terms of how good it is now. And so it's right in that sweet spot of like, it was actually probably pretty cool that it was happening at that time.
Yeah.
But
they pulled someone right up off newgrounds.com.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like a flash animation from Newgrounds.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Someone graduated animation from College University, and
yep. Exactly. Ryder Strong as well is not the only actor from the first film to come back. We get what's his name, Winston?
Yeah.
We get Detroit Rock City's own Winston.
Deputy Winston, Giuseppe Andrews, is back, which is something that I definitely was not expecting, and he's back like as one of the main through lines of the film, which is very
he's someone there who is ostensibly the main character of the movie, and then by the third act completely forgets what he's doing.
Yeah. He's like, oh wait, I'm in a Cheech and Chong movie trying to get out of town.
Oh wait, this thing I'm trying to escape from? Sure, get in here. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yep.
I have to say one thing this movie did have over the first one is that regardless of how you feel about what the tone is, at least there was one tone. Like, it was ridiculous from the beginning. It was, not serious and just way out there and weird and like trying to be funny and stuff. Whereas the other one was kind of like, it's serious now, but here's a weird moment and now we're serious again. Or this one's just kind of like, yeah, fuck this, like it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's weird. As much as it sounds like everyone here pretty much hated the movie, I did see multiple reviews of like the DVD when it came out and the movie when it came out, people saying like, it's actually not that bad. So I don't know. I don't know.
This is a movie I would have been terrified that I would have made if somebody gave me like $1 million and a camera when I was like 15. And they were like, make a feature film.
Yeah.
And you're like, man.
And you were cutting it together and you're like, this is not looking good. I'm gonna blame it on the producers or something. Yeah.
Justin, I don't know if your version was better, but the Tubi TV one, I don't know if it was Tubi or my internet or what, but the sound levels were all over the damn place.
This movie was not mixed.
I had that issue.
Oh,
I was like, what are
mixed.
they saying? I can't hear it at all. And then the like music would be playing super loud and they'd be talking. I'm like, I can't even hear them.
Oh,
and then the next second they'd be really loud again. And it was just like all over the damn place.
No, mine was like that too. It sounded like, it sounded like they did a bunch of like, we're just going to use the raw audio we filmed on set and hope it works.
and
for a bunch of
Tubi
scenes.
TV has no closed captioning, so I couldn't even see
it
what
was
they were saying.
impossible to hear.
It was so awful.
Yeah, there were a couple scenes I had to stop. Since it's a DVD, you can't like It's so dumb, but it's like the menus don't pop up while you're watching the movie. You have to go back to the main menu, put on the subtitles, go back to the movie.
Yeah.
But there were a couple scenes where I was like, what did that nerdy kid say? I don't know.
It was probably something hateful, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was confused on the sashimi line. I was like, wait, what did he say?
Oh, God.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Sashimi, man. I can't even say it.
I don't want to know. Okay, so yeah, Ryder Strong gets hit by this bus. We see a bunch of this is when we get Officer Winston introduced.
And they're like,
he tells the bus driver, "Don't worry about it, brah."
Yeah, this is the movie where they're like, we're going to continue that Twin Peaks feel from the first one. The music's like do 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 do. It's like the same fucking
That scene was very Twin Peaksy, and you get the idea from Winston that like he's local police or something, but then there's these bigger police, I guess, that we saw at the end of the last movie that burned everything. Yeah. And he's afraid of them for some reason instead of like wanting to help them, I guess.
Yeah. They do make some reference to a bunch of students being up at the cabin, like asking questions or something at one point, but they never go back to, they never reference the first movie again after that.
I think that we can talk about one of the best. It usually only happens in horror movies, but one of the best sequel tropes is where they kill 5 minutes of screen time by showing you a synopsis of the previous film with footage from the previous film.
Oh, yeah.
But this one didn't do it.
Yes, it did.
It did show. It did show some clips. From
it absolutely showed 5 minutes of the of Cabin Fever 1.
I don't know if it was 5 minutes. No,
I completely missed.
I don't think it was that long.
Yeah, they showed them chopping them up and burning them down, and
Okay.
Oh, what I was going to say too about Deputy Winston, I did enjoy that he seemed to have an actual badge this time. Yeah. The last movie, it was just like printed on his jacket. Now he's got a real shiny one. It's an upgrade. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good
So
him.
like all the kids are sick, and then then we go to a high school drama.
You get the idea from the fact that they burn and kill everybody in this high school that it's somehow contained to the high school, or that the high school is the only place the water went. But clearly that's not the case, because there's this whole scene where he's at a diner where a bunch of people get infected also.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
There's a weird callback to the pancakes.
No,
the Easter Bunny's back in this movie.
The Easter Bunny? Yeah. There's lots of weird stuff going on in this. It's very strange. I don't know.
Let's get to the plot of our main characters here.
Yes.
Whose names I don't remember.
Yeah, because it's like John
and Noah Segan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every high school student in this movie is in their mid-30s.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
One of them is a normal dude who just wants to go either go to prom with this girl he likes or watch a movie with his friends, and he doesn't know what's going to happen before the end of the day.
This girl that he thinks is too stupid to realize that he's in love with her.
Yeah, this movie does two things, and I'll talk about so there's a point where there's this girl that he's been idolizing, and she's broken up with her boyfriend, and he asks her, "Hey, you just want to go to prom with me?" And she very politely tells him no, which was like, hey, that scene needs to happen in more movies where that's fine, right? But then late, 10 minutes later in the movie, he just shouts at her.
Yeah, he's such a nice
you
guy.
You don't even
Tyler.
know, you're so dumb. Blah blah blah. It's just shout at her until that she loves you. That's gonna work.
He says lots of language that is very
not okay.
Not okay in that moment.
It's very neggy.
Yep.
He almost asked her to join him to destroy the First Order and the Rebellion and start a new society. But it was real bad.
but literally 20 minutes earlier in the movie, she just very politely is like, you know what, I don't want to go. And he's like, okay, I'll go watch movies with my friends. And I'm like, that's actually a normal scene that should happen more in movies.
Okay, we have to talk about his friends that are basically Justin inviting people to horror movie night, though.
Yeah, you guys want to watch Bride of the Cannibals 2 director's cut? That's what they say. It's like supposed to be the craziest sequel ever or craziest movie ever. I did think that was kind of funny. But those characters were also really weird.
They were.
They were very weird.
They were the after credits, Tyler.
Yeah. Did you see that moment, Tyler?
Tyler never watches the after credits.
You didn't sit through the multiple awesome songs in the credits?
Oh, wait, no. I feel like I fast-forwarded through. Oh, I was thinking of the songs that you were going to play during this.
Classic Zaza making it in there.
I felt like I checked, but maybe I didn't.
Well, at the end, it shows them watching the movie together, and they're like both under a blanket, and the kid turns to him and goes, "Prom blows." That's one that I had to rewind and put the subtitles on because I was like, "What the fuck?"
I couldn't hear it. I was just like, "There they are."
He says, "Prom
I heard
blows,"
some like mouthing, but that's about it.
which makes no sense. Why would he say that in that moment? I don't know. It's dumb. It's real dumb.
He doesn't know they all died.
Exactly.
They're going to be the only kids at graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Even in this situation, they get graduation.
One thing I did like about the high school was like the art and set decoration, because I did enjoy all the like glittery decorations for the disco under the sea or whatever, and the like the big octopus that was saying disco, disco, disco.
Yeah, I mean, oh no, go ahead.
At one point, he's like thrown into a classroom, and there's just like a huge like anatomical drawing of a penis on the entire whiteboard or a chalkboard, whatever. Somebody took a lot of time to draw that.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the things that I would say the movie does well, if I had to say one thing, is that watching Ty West's later filmography, I think he does do a good job at like capturing a time period, and he was definitely going for like 80s, kind of like 80s slasher. Like a lot of this movie is almost like, I mean, nobody in the movie it doesn't look like 2007 or 2009. They're all using like rotary phones at their home and stuff. Like, I thought they did a good job of capturing that time period, and even the prom looks super like something out of Carrie or something,
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was like a big Carrie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it a ripoff or an homage, but I think even the fact that they cast this tall, skinny, like white, big-eyed girl that looks like Sissy Spacek, and then they dumped blood all over her in a white dress was kind of like, okay,
yeah,
like
exactly.
I get it, Carrie,
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely trying to be something that was not of 2009. And the way that you're watching it is like, holy shit, this was 2009. This is bad.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking old movie.
Yeah,
which I think was the goal here as well. So
I think it was, and I think that's kind of where the exploitation. I think that they thought that would give them some cover to go a little bit more extreme, and it just failed miserably.
And there's just like hateful things that really added nothing to the movie that didn't need to be there, like the gay principal that is played for laughs, and the teacher with a cleft palate that they just make fun of for no reason. It's
a really mean-spirited movie in a way that there's no redeeming. Like, there's nothing behind it. It's just mean-spirited to be mean-spirited. And I think that they thought that it was satire, and they thought that it was something that, like, we're doing this, but it was in a way where they didn't realize what those words meant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's super weird. I regrettably bought the DVD, and, by some miracle, there's actually a behind-the-scenes featurette on there.
My God.
And it has interviews with like the producer and a bunch of the actors, and it is weird. It is a very weird behind the scenes thing, because a lot of people are like, like the actor who plays the principal is like, all I can say is like, there's some things you haven't seen in movies before in this movie. Let's just leave it at that. Some surprising things, like super awkwardly. And, it's, they talk a lot about how gross it is, but like Noah Segan is like, oh man, yeah, it's just so gross, but that's like why it's really funny. And and I'm just like, it's very weird. Like they thought, I don't know. Everyone thought it was going to be so funny, and I was just like, I don't know who would think this was funny, but not me. There's parts in the movie that are clearly supposed to be played for laughs, and it just goes over like nothing.
Yeah, like
Like the moment when John and his girlfriend finally kiss, or the girl who wants to be his girlfriend finally kiss at the end, and there's that like goop that goes between them.
Yeah.
And like you're supposed to be like, oh, that's so funny. Look at how gross it is. But it's like,
look at them. Look at that goop.
It's also very strange. Like there's so many, there's a lot of like dead air in this movie where there's like, oh man, maybe there should be like music here or something. I don't know. These scenes are just really dry, and I don't know. It's awkward, and the dialogue's not funny.
Yeah, it's pretty mean spirited. It goes into like the teen, high school. I don't even know what you would call it. Like it's not even a high school horror movie. Like there's not even really archetypical characters. It's just everyone has cold sores.
Yeah.
Everyone is hateful and mean. The thing, okay, so basically, like when the prom starts happening, right? Officer Winston has found out that it's in the water, and he's trying to stop everything. Although we've seen Ryder Strong infect the whole school bus, what's really happening is that they've just made a punch bowl at the prom with the down home water. Also,
but not just the water.
Yes, because the janitor who hates all the kids, because at one point one of the kids ran down a hallway and knocked over a banner, I guess, is the thing.
And he's like, these fucking kids. Like that's the only line.
Fucking kids.
God
So
damn
he peed in the punch bowl.
Oh yeah, but you got to explain how terrible that scene was. He didn't just.
Please go into the details for me.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna pee in this punch bowl, and he starts peeing, and like you see earlier that he's got some like boils on his mouth or something.
Yep.
And he's peeing, and then all of a sudden he's like, and then the pee like turns into blood, and it's so fucking gross. This was the moment where I was like, I think I gotta turn this movie off, maybe.
So for him, blood comes out of his penis, but the other guy, like white goop comes out of his penis.
This movie
like pus?
of character to pus ratio, pus wins. There's more pus in this movie than there are characters.
Yeah, we see full frontal gross, like rotting penis in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Totally.
Well, the whole pus thing reminded me. I was just like looking, like, wait, does he have gonorrhea? Because gonorrhea, when it's a really severe infection form, that's why they call it the clap. Because back then, when it was so bad, you literally clap your penis to get the pus out.
Oh.
So I'm like, wait, it's reference to when the woman gave him the blowjob, or like the disease? I was like confused. I'm like, what is the epithelial? What is the transmission for this thing?
How is that a thing that I've never known that was why it was called that?
That is so sick.
Well, luckily we have antibiotics now, and yes, there's multi-drug resistant gonorrhea now, super gonorrhea, but luckily it hasn't been in the population for so long, so we can still treat it with antibiotics, but we don't have typically men running around with severe gonorrhea where they actually have to clap out the pus out of it.
God, I hope not.
But 60 years ago, sure did. We sure did. This is one of my favorite chapters in this book that I love that I cannot recommend enough right now. It's called Get Well Soon. It's about pandemics. And there's a whole chapter about how every famous person before 1910 that you've ever heard of probably had syphilis.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
Yes.
Yikes.
Abe Lincoln, syphilis. Everybody had syphilis. Everybody did. And they were probably losing their minds about it. That's probably true.
Oh,
yeah, because there's 4 forms of syphilis, and usually tertiary syphilis is one that actually reaches your brain. So you get your first normal syphilis, level 1, which is like you get these chancres on your penis or in your vulva area. Okay, we could treat it. But then if it starts spreading out, You get level 2, which is all over your hands and feet. It looks like a rash. So like probably people walking around back in 60 years ago with rashes. They're like, oh, what a weird looking rash. And I'm like, nope, that's syphilis. And then when it starts getting to higher levels, tertiary, and then like the final level, which is pretty much disseminated throughout your whole body, and it start affecting your actual mental capability because it's pretty much like infecting your brain and like rotting it away in a sense.
Oh, Jesus.
This is like more simplistic forms, but yeah, that's why, you know, they had the whole like French whore disease, Italian whore disease, because a lot of these prostitutes had such like advanced levels of infection that's why they kind of like would have that raspy voice, because it would affect their throats, affect their head, you know, like you just started like kind of losing it.
And I don't need an exact year, but like when did we have a treatment for this? It was not as long ago as you would think.
Yeah, it's because with syphilis you could treat with like certain antibiotics, but depending what level you're in. If you're at the first and second level, you could treat it, but once you start getting disseminated syphilis, it becoms harder to treat. And not to mention the whole if you're a woman and you're pregnant and you give birth to a child, you could pass syphilis to your child as you're giving birth. So it's a really long, complicated disease that has a lot of ramifications. Which, by the way, California is lucky because we're getting a high incidence of syphilis now.
Oh, lucky!
Oh,
you
good
say.
for us.
Yeah. So let's see. Fresno County has a high prevalence of syphilis. Orange County has a high prevalence of syphilis now.
Oh no!
So now they're really aggressively trying to fight that off.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, if you can imagine, before penicillin, you were just gonna, if you lived long enough, you'd make it to those later
level.
stages.
Yeah.
You'd make it there. You just would.
Yeah.
Great.
Get your shit together, California. Jesus.
Yeah.
So after the penis situation, the main character sees a bunch of science books and they like focus in on the word amputation. And so like he somehow gets it on his arm, just from being around his friend.
I guess I have to interject here because I love the idea of just like, so after the penis situation, there was utopia. Everyone was good.
Yeah. If only.
Yeah.
It was like after that whole thing was done, then yeah, it was all fine.
Can't spell amputation without utopia.
Yeah,
I think.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I guess he just got it. I don't know.
Yeah, he just got it. And then he was like, oh, better cut my arm off. Like the amount of time between like discovering that and when he's making her cut his arm off, and like the fact that she agrees to it, but then doesn't protect herself in any way from the splatter. It's just like,
yeah,
so ridiculous.
There was no part of this movie where I was like, I need this to take longer.
Yeah.
However, the part where he was infected and then decided to chop off his hand could have used a little bit more story development.
Yeah.
I think he was insinuating he got it from his friend. He kept tending to his friend. I'm like, stop tending to someone who's that sick. Leave them alone. They're a lost cause at this point.
Yeah.
Do not get bodily fluids on yourself.
No, we were talking about that in the last movie. Like the guy who was like, don't get near me. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get sick. And just drank beer the whole time. It's like, he was kind of right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, the transmission rate for this thing is such a mess that, like, in the sense that guy was correct. He's like, don't touch me. He's like, yeah, he's like kind of doing something correct.
But like, there hasn't been any evidence up until this point of anyone getting it just from being touched, like on the outside, you know, like unless he touched him and then he like licked his arm or something. Like, I don't understand how this guy got it. And she didn't have it at all, from what I could tell, until then she freaking drinks his blood in the amputation scene, and then they make out for no reason. Like, so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by that time he'd cut it off, so it doesn't matter.
And then
that's totally how it works.
And then she just puts a blowtorch to it, and he's fine.
Yeah, and she
you know,
she survives a hammer to the head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Also totally fine. I love that there's that scene. Her boyfriend is a total psychopath in this movie. And there's that scene where he's like trying to convince them to let him into the library. And instead of like
while he brains somebody.
Exactly. I'm like instead of being like, I'm totally normal, just please let me in. He like goes fucking insane on this other dude for no reason, and just like totally squishes his face in.
My roommates were like half watching this sort of while I was watching it, and they were like, when he killed that guy, they were like, wait, who is that guy? And I'm like, no one. It's no one. It's just a random guy that he killed for no reason.
Yeah, that scene was super weird because it was him. It looked like in the scene, it looked like he was trying to hide some other person off camera, because every once in a while, like some arms would come out, like, and he would push him to the side, and I was like, what's going on in this scene? Yeah, he follows them to the wood shop, and then we get to hear Noah Segan's amazing scream. That I was like, I'm like, his scream was so weird in this moment, because he's screaming bloody murder, but it doesn't seem like much is going on. Like the guy's on top of him, but he's like, and to the point where I thought it was the girl screaming, but apparently it wasn't. Dude gets a nail gun to the head though.
I thought they were trying to insinuate poorly that the virus causes someone who's already aggressive even more aggressive, but I'm like, that's even over, that's me overreaching, because I'm trying to think of this like with my scientific, microbiologist hat on.
Yeah.
When I'm watching this one, I'm like, I could see why they're trying to do that, but like they did a really poor job of trying to do that. Because there are certain viruses that can cause aggression in people, like rabies, but it doesn't cause that type of super aggressive behavior where you start braining people in the hallway.
I did also mildly enjoy the scene where everyone's just throwing up blood in the prom. Like, it just gets like really bad, and people are like, in those like, those wooden cutouts where they're taking their photos and they're throwing up through those, and people are just getting puked on left and right, and that was mildly enjoyable, but other than that, no. What I feel like is unfortunate with this movie is, a lot of things, but I think that the basic premise of this movie could have been really good. I like the change of venue and situation in this, and like the fact that we haven't talked about it, but like some sort of shady government agency shows up and like starts killing people and locking things down. Like that's kind of a cool idea for this, like to expand this franchise out a bit, but the way it's all executed is really not good.
There's no cabin.
Oh yeah, that's true. No cabin. But
Didu has a form of cabin fever.
Yeah,
being locked up in
cabin fever, spring fever.
Yeah, they're more focused on the spring part of it.
Cabin fever.
And then like the movie basically ends, and then all of a sudden we get like an entire another act at the strip club with the character we have not seen since the beginning of the movie. Yeah,
this was so weird. I thought for sure, like, so I don't remember the main character's name, but her name is the character's name is Cassie. Cassie. She like runs away while Noah Segan is getting killed by the CDC or whoever it is, and then she runs into Winston, of course, who's in a van with his friend, and she gets in and they drive off, and you see like that the guys in the hazmat suits just missed him, and then they phase to black, and you're like, this is the end. And then this totally unrelated basically epilogue happens, to the point where I was certain that like, oh, I got the unrated DVD, this must be some like extra thing, it's so weird, like there's no way this is actually part of the movie. But apparently it is part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's real gross.
So gross.
There's it's really gross. And
unbelievably gross.
I don't understand is all the middle-aged men that are actors in this movie that are like there's a point where like she reveals her breasts and they're all pussy and awful and they're like still good, and there are cutaways of actors saying things that are not funny, nor are they jokes, nor are they even lines of just pure evil.
Yeah, basically like being like, oh, I wish she was 16, that'd be awesome. Like who is gonna say that stuff live on camera for eternity?
I think that the idea of it is them trying to say strip clubs are gross. But what comes out is that the director was like, strip clubs.
Well, apparently, so like according to that article I was talking about before, let me put up the let me bring it up here. Apparently, that like epilogue moment is like something that Ty West says he was not involved with. That and the final animated sequence that we get at the end. So I don't know. I'm not sure if someone thought this was so freaking hilarious or what, but I don't know. It's just, it makes no sense. It makes no sense in the plot of the movie. It doesn't
make any sense that, I mean, like, if she's in high school, like, I guess potentially she's 18.
Yeah.
Like, very recently?
Yeah.
She's working at a strip club?
Well, I mean, like, they're obviously implying that she, is getting a job there, even though she's not 18, which I suppose is possible. And,
well, no, I mean, if they're graduating senior year, like, yeah. I was going to say, unfortunately, growing in Vegas, there is some overlap there, but they're not making that clear, and it's gross and it's weird.
It's just really bad because the scene, you keep thinking like, oh, it's the movie's done, please, and then it just keeps going. It keeps getting like more degrading and awful, further.
And also, like, the only people that seem to have any sense at all, they weren't great either, but the only people that seemed to have any sense were the two Mexican guys, and even though they didn't even touch the girl, they still got the disease too.
Yeah, but they still, even after she like throws up and is dying, basically they say something like about how like, oh well, you shouldn't throw away an apple if it has one brown spot on it or something, and it's still like, what the fuck? Line. Why do they have to keep making it worse? And then it ends with like another dumb animated sequence where you see like what happened to all the people at the end. I guess, like, who cares? The two Mexican guys went to Mexico. What else happened?
The truck driver threw his urine at some like convertible or something.
Oh, yeah. The one business dude went to work and left his finger in some like
the jelly bean jar.
Yeah, some M&Ms or something.
Oh right. Okay, so let's talk about when Winston goes to the fucking water plant, I guess, and Judah Freelander's there from 30 Rock.
But he's also horrible.
He's super gross too.
Oh,
yeah.
he's the worst.
Yeah.
And then, so he's trying to tell them, like, this is fucked up, like, we got to stop the water, whatever it is. And then he meets up with his buddy, and they're driving in a van. And then the sissy SpaceX stand-in is the only person who escapes from the dance. And then they run out to she runs out to the street, and Officer Winston is the one who picks her up. He knows exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees a girl covered in blood, and he's like, yeah, get the fuck in here. Get in this van.
I know, which like at one part is like, that makes no sense for this story, but at the same time, it's like
the only thing that guy cares about is underage girls.
Yes,
if you remember.
And I was like, this is the way he acts for every situation he's in. He's like, yeah, man, don't worry about it. It was a moose, like whatever. He always is like minimizing whatever is happening. Like,
right, but they're killing.
Cool,
like, he killed a man, did he not?
Winston?
I mean, he knew. I mean, I guess that he didn't think the guy was going to get shot, but
he didn't actually kill a guy.
Some bad shit was going to happen.
He didn't kill him.
Yeah, he didn't kill him though. He just like he just like got out of there because he was smart enough to leave or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but yeah, fair enough.
He didn't actually shoot that dude.
Like he was not totally. He was like, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that terrible sashimi line popped in. Like, oh, you get all that great, pussy. The sashimi kind. It's like, ugh.
He also was like, he might not have in that moment thought that guy was going to get shot to death.
Yeah.
He might have been like, you're going to get arrested. Haha. But I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Why are we arguing about this?
Yeah. So Leslie, what elements have we not touched upon yet that are either actually scientifically accurate or horrifyingly inaccurate?
Let's see. Well, the interesting thing is how they're basically saying this hemorrhagic type of fever can be transmitted through water. Water viruses, that can be transmitted through water are usually different, and they don't cause hemorrhagic fevers. these are the ones that'll give you like gastrointestinal issues.
Ah.
So like your noroviruses, your astroviruses, pretty much anything that'll make you crap your pants is transmitted through water.
What if the whole prom had just erupted into diarrhea? Instead
I'm
of,
surprised. Instead of bleeding to death, they should have just been shitting themselves to death. That would make more sense. Or gotten a bad case of polio.
Okay.
Because polio can also be transmitted through water, like contaminated water.
The explosive diarrhea that might have been funnier.
Yeah, that
Maybe.
actually
It would have definitely been funnier.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I guess the only interesting thing is how they poorly hinted at that body fluids like, spit, saliva, blood is a transmission mechanism. But the way that they kind of had close contact and it's an instant, rash on the guy's arm was really bizarre. I was like, no, guys, it takes a while. So I guess when the low-rent version of Christian Slater, the main character guy, gets it from his friend, I'm like, oh, I guess he must have gotten it from, picking up his, body fluids and might have gotten it, fell in his eye when he kept getting splashed by his friends, body fluids and stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Terrible.
So, Tyler, do you have a rating?
Oh God. No. There should be no. There's nothing above a 0.
You have
to give this movie.
You have to give it. You have to give us something.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
The fans demand it.
All right. Well. I'm now blanking on it. What is the movie that our horror movie friends wanted to watch?
Cannibal Bride?
Bride of the Cannibals 2, I think it was.
How many DVD
Oh,
copies
Bride of the Cannibal Dance or something like that?
Yeah. Bride of the Cannibals 2 would you give?
Yeah.
Cabin Fever, Spring Fever.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to say 0, but then I also kind of want to say 1 because I feel like
it's from 1 to 10.
Was a movie. I don't know. I feel like I have to reserve 0 for something that is
Elis, this is the worst movie we've ever watched.
It's
if there was
bad.
ever a
it's
0, this is a 0.
No. Meatballs 3 is a 0. I'll give this one at least a 1 because I think you can at least see the seeds of some things that went on for Ty West to make the movies that he makes that we actually do like later on. Mm-hmm. And this was before all of that and everything. And if you're just there for the gross out horror movie stuff, I mean, it's there. It's gross. The effects are all right, but yeah, the acting was horrible. The sound was awful. Yeah, I don't know. It's real bad, but it's not a 0. I say 1 copy of Bride of the Cannibals.
I'm going to say 1 copy of Bride of the Cannibals 2 as well. Just because, I don't know. I don't know if I would. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I believe that our scale goes to 0 or not. But you can give it a 0 if you want, Tyler. This movie's not good, and I think it was interesting of the producers to hire Ty West, and I think that whatever they wanted him to do, it didn't happen. And then there was some fighting, in post-production, and it didn't work out. But what I thought was interesting is I was like, this movie, gives me hope for, any endeavor that, I might do where it's like, hey, you can totally fuck up a movie real bad and then go off and have a successful career where people are nobody
excited will even know about it.
Yeah, people could be excited about the next thing, and you'll have a really buzzy career going forward, even if you totally fucked up this movie in your past, or this really bad movie that doesn't reflect. I don't feel reflects the rest of his career. So I thought that was kind of interesting to think about while I was watching this, but I would never watch it again.
Justin, what's the name of the Jonestown one that he made? The cult?
Oh, The Sacrament?
Yeah, whatever that movie was. I loved that one. That one was great.
It's great.
I can't even believe it's the same guy other than the puking. I'm like, okay, I remember the puking. But anyways. Sorry to interrupt you.
And in the Valley of Violence, so many good movies.
Oh yeah, I love In the Valley of Violence. I think that this movie, I don't know if our scale goes to 0, but I am going to give it a 0 because I do feel like that there is intent to the nastiness of this movie. And what I hope, and when I'm saying that, I think that this was maybe a learning experience for Ty West, and I think that there's something to be said about making something that is on your base instincts, and you think that this and that, and this high school setting when you're close to that as you probably wasn't too far removed from high school. There's some real nastiness and there's some real intent in this movie that I kind of can't sidestep in a way that there's no message behind it. There's nothing beyond just trying to like make people look silly and make people look bad. And they have like actors that I actually like in most of those roles. Mm-hmm. And I think that whether that's from a toxic relationship between the producers and the director, I don't know. I will say that it's what happens when you try to sequelize something from a movie that was kind of unquantifiable. Like we're kind of on the fence of like what Eli Roth was trying to do. Was it, we had our opinions watching it in 2020. It was like I don't think it was as wise or intellectual as maybe people thought it was in 2002. But the producers of this movie definitely thought the things that were successful about Cabin Fever were the gross out humor, the disrespect of everyone, and everything else. And that is evident in this movie in a way that is very difficult to watch.
Yeah.
Sorry for laughing. The way you said it, I thought you were going to say disrespect of women, and then you said disrespect of everyone, and it's like it's true.
Yeah.
Really disrespect.
No. This movie does disrespect women in a way that is.
It's like every chance the movie gets to be mean, it takes for sure.
Yep.
How about you, Leslie?
Let's see. Okay, as like just watching it as like a movie fan person, I would give it like a 1 because, as you mentioned, it did have the gore and the violence. If you're into that, I feel like the way whoever wrote this or the whoever came up with this concept was like, it's almost like a reflection of some like very angry feelings he had, and they didn't know how to properly channel that in a healthy way. So it just kind of like exploded everywhere. So like it's really weird mixed messages about like, women are terrible, but I want them, but I idolize them, but they're terrible, and then high school sucks, and like prom is everything, but I hated prom. Someone needs some good talk therapy to kind of get this out of their system. That's what I felt like. It's like a very raw, like emotional, what they're trying to like express, but it just came out really badly. And as for the scientific aspect, I'll give it a 0.5 because they got like 2 things that were like kind of okay. Like, yes, you can't get diseases from contaminated water. Maybe not that fashion, but yeah, they kind of get that linked a little bit. And also the fact that they mentioned necrotizing fasciitis and how that could be a potential vehicle for infection, but not that type of crazy type of infection. Also, necrotizing fasciitis is usually caused by bacterial infection, not viruses. So they got the whole, types of infections wrong too. But yeah.
Yeah, you're like, it looks like it came from a real book. That's
I do love the idea that they're like, let's lock everyone in the high school, and then we can't kill anybody on the outside, but we'll kill indiscriminately on the inside.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
So, what do we have next, Justin?
Oh boy. There's more Cabin Fever, you guys. Next up, we have a movie called Cabin Fever Patient Zero. So, I'm going to go ahead and assume it's a prequel based on that title.
It's about how I have 0 patience for this franchise.
Patience equals 0.
They mixed up. It's cabin fever patients 0. Okay.
Yeah, Tyler, maybe you should have saved your 0 score for patient 0. You don't know.
Oh, maybe. God, I hope not. Oh, fuck.
I do actually, though, hope that it is a prequel and it shows an understanding of what that term means, because I have a feeling that what it's going to be is just that same girl and they're going to say she's patient 0 for a new wave of infection. And it's like, that's not what it is.
I mean,
I guess we can see where it started.
Yeah.
It's like a weird, like, backdoor, like, crossover between the Piranha franchise.
Yeah.
Oh my!
I think it'll likely just disregard everything and start over from the beginning for whatever reason.
It could.
But with another Boy Meets World cast member.
That would be fun. Well, Leslie, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you so much for enduring this.
And like we said before we started recording, we're so sorry.
It's okay. You know what? At this point, it's okay to have a little gross out horror comedy stuff, because we're currently living in a really strange time. You know, it's just interesting how people imagine pandemics, and like, especially like in like those I don't know if you guys heard of the iOS game patient what is it
Plague
called?
Inc?
Yeah, Plague Inc. And
I played it all the time.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, I could, it's going to, disrupt everything. And it's going to be like horror and chaos and zombie type of things. Like, no, it's a little more sad and depressing than that. And we're just locked in our homes and, keeping social distance.
Here's the thing that I want to say as a podcast that we enjoy, and just as a fun thing for people who are listening at home. The idea that we can stream anything that we'd like if we were even 10 years ago of like we had to go to a Blockbuster to watch a new movie or whatever it is, like we're so lucky that we can that we have the privilege of watching this movie that we all universally hated.
Yeah.
And in this time of a global pandemic, in a time where it's a miracle that we can watch this movie and talk about it and be together. And I love that. I love that idea of it. I was thinking about this. It's like, if I had to go to Blockbuster and rent a VHS, I would just be stuck with whatever movies I had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Aren't
are
we
all
lucky?
so lucky not to have that.
Yeah. We're using our time wisely.
Yeah. So Leslie, you took the time out of your busy work schedule to watch this movie and be here with us. So if you could tell our listening public one thing, what is the thing that you want people to know about COVID-19 and everything that's been happening?
Let's see. Well, there's a few things depending what subject I should cover. Let's see. COVID-19 is a scary virus. It's not going to kill anyone who's like in a healthier population. This is more an issue for older, vulnerable populations, people with immunocompromised systems, people with people who are like morbidly obese, people who are older, just anything who asthma, anything like that. So the reason why social distancing is a good thing, I know in Orange County there's a whole protest that they had, and they're like, "Oh, you can't tell us what to do." It's like, that's not the point.
More like Syphilis County, right? Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Syphilis County. It's all out there. If you guys don't believe me, just Google syphilis rates in California. It's also syphilis rates also related to the amount of meth use in counties also. So there's that little thing, that little nugget of knowledge.
So avoid Palmdale.
Yeah.
Sorry, Palmdale.
Yeah. So the reason why social distancing is a good aspect is just because, I'm assuming most of the listeners here are usually like, 20s, 30s, healthier population. It's the older people who are going to get infected, and those are the ones who are going to unfortunately end up in the hospitals and might cause like a basically horrible like clog of the system and just occupy all the hospitals like they did, like what happened in Italy. So we're doing it more for our older generation, for their safety. Of course, our safety too, because we have some young people who can get it and it can go wrong. But like, this is not Spanish flu wise where it's killing young, healthy adults. But we need to be conscious of this because it is a virus and it can easily mutate into something we cannot control. So please, everyone, just be patient. Wash your hands, don't touch your face. Please don't wear gloves in public, but please keep your masks on your face. Wearing gloves in public is really gross. Don't do that. It can cause more damage than good. People are touching everything and being sloppy with it. Also, just, if you know any type of healthcare worker or anything, just, it's been a rough couple of months. Be patient with them. You don't have to tell them like, oh, you're so great, amazing hero. Just be like, thanks, type of thing. It'll be, it's always good to know that people kind of like, hey, we appreciate your work. Thanks for doing what you do, type of thing. Let's see what else. Also, the big thing is, it will slowly pass. It's going to take a couple more, maybe months or weeks. Just be patient with the whole system, because we just want to make sure that we know what we're looking at and it does not change on us. Because that's the big thing, is they're afraid of any type of virus transmission that might turn into something else. That's the big one, because we get the mutation rate of the virus, but we don't know how quickly it's going to mutate.
Well, Leslie, you on the lab side, we appreciate your service.
Yeah,
and we appreciate you being here and, taking a break to have some fun with us and watch this movie.
Oh, yes, it was a wonderful break I needed. It's been long days at the lab,
Totally.
Dealing with multiple outbreaks in skilled nursing facility areas that can be very depressing on one's mind when you look at the stack of paperwork and then they'll just look into patients' ages and stuff. But this is kind of like, ha ha ha, angry man. So, angry man and angry against the world. I can deal with that right now.
Yeah, I can deal with a fake virus that has imaginary transmission vectors.
Yeah, that makes no sense, but whatever. It looks like someone just read like a general textbook about like ways you could get different like infections, and
just all of them.
Mush it together. Yeah.
Well, anyways, so those of you listening, for any questions or comments about this episode or the podcast in general, you can send us an email, sequelrights@gmail.com, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights. We're also in the process of getting the whole back catalog and staying current with new episodes up on YouTube and Facebook video.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts if you get the chance. We really appreciate you guys listening along with us during this whole time. If there is a franchise that you particularly like or some episodes that you particularly like, we would love if you shared them on social media. That would be just as good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thanks again to Leslie for being here with us. We'll see you guys next week when we all get to meet Patient Zero.